Welcome to the United Cast. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for Man United and football. I'm your host Matthew, and today I'm going to be talking about Manchester United's 4-1 win in the Champions League against Istanbul, the Turkish Champions League team. Good result today, much better. Boy, do I have a lot of things to say today. Good result, convincing performance. I don't even know where I want to start. I just sort of, well, not really ran in here. I sort of rushed in here and just hit record because I was so looking forward to getting started. Good performance today. Look, here's the thing. Everyone all Man United fans on social media today or tonight, at least most of them are going to be going on social media and being like, "Oh, look how good that was! Excellent, great! Ollie in and all this sort of stuff." We won very well. We really did. 4-1's great. We played really well, at least in the first 25 minutes. Played alright in the rest of the game. There was some good intent shown from the players. I think there was a lot of good energy. Do you know why that happened? It wasn't because of tactics. What happened today, and this is just my opinion, I'm not making this trying to sound like a fact. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picked one of the best teams that he's picked in the entire time that he's been manager today. And do you know what else he did? Do you remember what I said in the last episode? I don't know, you might be new here to Entertainment Talk, I don't know. I specifically said, and I've been saying this for months, ever since Donny van de Beek joined the club, I want to see a midfield three of Fred, Van de Beek, and Bruno Fernandes. He picked it tonight. That's the first time he's ever picked those three midfield players. Whether it's for starting or for finishing the game, I don't think that those three midfield players have been on the pitch at the same time. I don't think that they have anyway. And we won. I think one of the reasons that we won wasn't because of tactics or tactical masterclasses or tactical choices or managerial excellence. I think that he picked a very good group of players and they went out and they did their job. Now that's very good. Does this mean that I'm Ole in? Does this mean I want him to stay? Does this mean I think that we're going to win something this season? No, because one of the problems, well, we might go on and win something, but we really don't know yet. But the problem is, if you look at this result and go, okay, well, yeah, we won 4-1, Ole's brilliant, Ole's the best, all this and all that. And then if we lose or draw to Southampton, I believe it's on Sunday, I think that game is, it'll be, oh, Ole out, he's a clown, whatever else. Now, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a clown. I've never said that on a podcast. You can go back through the episodes and listen if you want to. I've never said that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a clown. But I don't think that he's good enough because of his inconsistency. Now, we have won the last two games, of course, West Brom and Istanbul. West Brom that we beat just because of a penalty. But Ole's biggest problem has been his inconsistency. So if we go to Southampton and he changes the team for some reason, there's no excuses for him to change the team, at least the core part of it. I know Wan-Bissaka picked up an injury today, or a bit of an injury. Cavani probably won't play another 90 minutes. That's fine, fair enough. But if we go to Southampton on Sunday and he changes the team, he changes the midfield, he changes the defence a little bit, and we get a draw or we lose, that will be on Ole. And that is the inconsistency that I'm talking about. If he can cut that out and he can actually realise the good players on his team, which he did today. Cavani started, Cavani played great, and for the first time since he signed, Donny van de Beek actually played 90 minutes. Good stuff from Ole. That's good. You've got to play Donny van de Beek again for 90 minutes on Sunday, potentially again whoever we've got the week after. I haven't looked it up. But yeah, you look at this. I'm looking at the starting 11. Now, the two centre-backs aside, which I've had problems with for months, that's not a new thing. I'm not being inconsistent about my opinion. I've said that Maguire and Lindelof don't work together as a centre-back pairing. I've been consistent about that. I've said that every single time that they've played, and I don't think that they were good again today. I really don't. But you look at De Gea, played really well today. Bit of a weird thing with the whole save, him saving the ball, but it was behind the goal. I'll talk about that when we talk about the actual goals. Wan-Bissaka has been great. The skip over Lindelof and Maguire. Telles, I think, has been brilliant. I really like Alex Telles. Donny van de Beek finally getting 90 minutes. Played really, really well. He's such a good player. Fred, I thought Fred. That's a difficult thing to say. I thought that Fred was phenomenal today. I thought Van de Beek was phenomenal. Rashford on the right, out of position, still played pretty well. Is he a future right winger? I think it's too early to say that. Bruno Fernandes, our best player, 2 goals today, played really, really well. Martial, bit of an odd game again, but definitely better than what he did against West Brom. Cavani had a bit of a quieter game, but still played really, really well. Apart from the 2 defenders, which I have issues with, Lindelof and Maguire, the core team there, Fred, Van de Beek, Fernandes, Cavani, Martial, Rashford, pretty much all played really, really well. And as I said at the start of this episode, he simply picked a very, very good team, realised what he has on his team, and picked them. They went out there and they did their job. It's pretty much as simple as that. I don't think that this is any sort of tactical masterclass. Now, I don't know if I've been very, very negative throughout this podcast or whether. I can't really sort of tell so far. Like I said, really good win. I thought the performance was a lot better today. Not for the entire 90 minutes. There were parts in the game where we sort of fell a bit flat, but ultimately 4-1 is a much, much more convincing win than 1-0 through a penalty against West Brom. 4-1 against an established, Turkish team, Istanbul, who are much better than West Brom, is a much, much better result. And, we scored 4 goals. They were really, really good. That's great. But I just don't think that you can turn around and say that this is like a tactical masterclass for Molly, because the thing is, as soon as you start to think that, and like, oh, is Ollie the right man for the job? Is he going to take us to titles and all that sort of thing? Then he'll go and lose or draw to somebody, and he'll be like, oh, get this guy out of the club, he's useless and all that. I still do think that somebody else needs to come in and manage this team, because I don't think that managerial-wise or managerial sort of tactics that Ollie is the right man. I just don't. I think I might have said this before, I'm not really sure. I think if you bring in Pochettino, which I know is a very cliche thing to say, move Solskjaer to a coaching role. I think so. I mean, Solskjaer was in the greatest Man United team of all time. The 99 winning treble team. The Beckhams, the Scholes, Giggs, Keanes, and all those sorts of players. Schmeichel, Gary Neville, all those sorts of players. It's not like he doesn't not know anything about football. He knows plenty about football. He scored the winning goal that won us a treble. I'm not saying that he's useless. I just think that he needs to maybe be a coach for the team instead of be the manager, and then let somebody else make the managerial tactical decisions. He's still also got the problem that he does not... I think he did it maybe at the end of this game. He's got such a big problem with coming out on the touchline and shouting at his players. Even for the goals. I mean, I know that managers do sit in the stands, some of the time. But Ollie sits in the stands an awful lot. And, even for the goals, he's sort of doing these little celebrations and stuff. So Alex Ferguson would have been running out there and shouting and... whatever, that sort of thing. Not just Alex Ferguson, but other managers as well, who celebrate goals a bit more and shout more at their players, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, I'm very, very happy with tonight overall. I think that we played a lot better. I'm really glad to finally see the midfield that I wanted to see: Van der Beek, Fred, and Bruno. Of course, Bruno's pretty much a guaranteed starter. Fred's been in the team a lot more, and it was just really nice to see Donny van der Beek get 90 minutes today. I think that's great. He needs to get 90 minutes for about the next 4 or 5 games at least, because there's so many good things about Donny van der Beek, and it's for Ollie. It's the case of realizing. I said earlier in the podcast, realizing what he has. He needs to realize what Van der Beek has got to offer, and he can't do it if he's sitting on the bench, can he? So there's that as well. The goals, I'm trying to remember them actually. There were so many. The first one, of course, Bruno Fernandes, phenomenal hit from the edge of the box. I always knew that Bruno was kind of capable of those types of shots. You could always just kind of tell. He scored a couple of outside the box kind of goals and that sort of thing. Those have been good goals, but this is his best goal for Manchester United, and it's just a screamer, and it was brilliant. So loved the first goal. Cross from somebody from the corner, got headed out, got played to Bruno Fernandes. Brilliant goal. I don't understand any of the criticism that Bruno gets. Because I'll still stick by this statement. If we never got Bruno Fernandes in January and we didn't get him in the summer, like the summer of this year or whatever, we would not only not have Champions League football, I think we'd be in the relegation zone because we're not actually that far off of it points-wise. He's such a vital cog to this team, and you can just see how much he makes it click, and it's clear that he needs to be the captain as well. So brilliant goal from Bruno. Really happy with that. The second goal I was a little bit confused on, oddly, because Tellers crossed it in. Tellers had another great game, by the way. Really like him. Tellers had another great game. Crossed it in. I think the cross was meant for Cavani, which you've got to put the crosses in a bit lower. For Cavani, he's slightly shorter, I guess, or maybe the crosses are a bit too high. There was a few instances in this game where players were trying to cross it through to Cavani, which is a good idea, but you've got to get the ball a little bit lower, because as good as Cavani is, if the ball's completely above his head, there's nothing he can do. Same with any player, really. You know, if you can't touch the ball, then you can't do anything with it. Pretty much as simple as that. Goalkeeper kind of palmed it out, and then Bruno tapped it away. I'll be honest, I didn't realise it was a goal at first. The ball was like a little bit small on the screen. Sometimes the ball, when it's among a few players, can get a little bit lost. And then I just saw Bruno sort of walking off and celebrating. I was like, oh, he scored. And then realised what happened in the replay. So I sort of initially actually missed it, but yeah, good goal from him nonetheless. I thought that was pretty good. And in the third goal, of course, that was the penalty, wasn't it, from Rashford? Run through on goal, got kind of shoulder barged and fouled. Look, it's a contact sport. You can barge people, but you can't shove them onto the floor. So I thought that was a penalty. Well put away by Rashford. Thought Bruno should potentially have taken it, but Rashford puts it away nonetheless. And there's no problem there. Not too much to talk about really with the third goal. Then the fourth goal, Dan James makes the run. Greenwood crosses it in or passes it across the face of the goal, and Dan James puts it away. I cannot for the life of me understand the criticism that Dan James gets. I'm just going to put that out there. I cannot understand the criticism that Dan James gets. He's not a first team player for Manchester United at the moment. Those slots have been filled by other players. I really like Dan James. I think he's got a heck of a potential for the future. I don't think he did. I mean, he did one thing wrong in this game where I think he ran towards like 3 players and tried to take them on. That wasn't great, but he lost the ball once when he came on. Scored a good goal, made a couple of good passes here and there. I just do not understand the hate for Dan James whatsoever. I think he's a young player with a lot of potential. If he can learn a bit more, get his football IQ up a little bit, make some of those smarter decisions. See, here's the thing about Dan James is you've got to use him in certain circumstances, and you've got to play to his strengths. There's no good playing. Dan James is someone that he can get past the player, but he's the sort of player where, okay, if there's space, Dan James can run into it, get the ball and do something with it. If you're passing the ball to Dan James and expecting him to like beat the right back or beat the left back, depending on what side he's on, he's not really the sort of player that's going to do that. Like, he can do that, but he's better if, like, okay, there's a bit of space, Dan will find it, presumably Bruno or somebody else will pass it through to him, and he'll run into that space, because his biggest strength is his pace. And with his goal at the end here, he finds a bit of space, runs into it and everything. Greenwood passes it across and puts it in. So I thought that was good. Yeah, really good for Dan to get a goal. He scored a screamer, by the way, against I think it was Finland when they had the internationals recently, and he played for Wales. Scored an absolute screamer of a goal. I thought it was brilliant. So yeah, I think it's far too early to dismiss Dan James and to say, like, look, we got to get rid of him and stuff. I mean, you all know my thoughts on Lingard, and if we're going to get rid of any of our wingers, it's got to be him before Dan James. It's got to. So, by the way, Lingard, you've probably noticed I've not mentioned him for a good few episodes because he's not been playing. There's no space for him in this team. Dan James has sort of snuck in here and there. He is an impact sub at the moment, and that's not a bad thing. Impact subs can be really good. Javier Hernandez, one of my favourite Manchester United players, who was wrongfully sold. Great impact player. Used to come on in the 80th or 70th minute, used to nick a goal, and it worked. So I thought that was really, really good as well. So yeah, he came on and scored. But yeah, Lingard, I have heard that he is self-isolating for 2 weeks. He came into contact with somebody with corona. I'm not going to criticise him. I don't know the full story or whatever the case may be, but I wish him well anyway. So I might not think he's a very good footballer, but I don't wish him harm. That would just be a bit silly. I don't want him to play for my football club anymore that I support because I don't think he's good enough. But I'm not going to wish him to die or something. That would just be a bit silly. But I wish him well. Hopefully he recovers soon and can go from there. So, but yeah, the thing is, I suppose at the moment, if Donny van de Beek can barely get in this team, how is Jesse Lingard supposed to get in this team? It is really as simple as that, So there we go. But and then they of course scored the goal. Bit of a weird sort of situation. De Gea does save it, but it's behind the line, so he just didn't quite sort of get to it. But that is what it is. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting onto the player ratings where I will be including some of the subs and some particular scores. So we'll see for all that in a second. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our 2 different affiliate links. The first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our Kualu affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with Kualu using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, Kualu will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for Kualu and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being. And you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, what have we got for you here? We did a Gaming Talk episode today, let me just find that. Random Gaming Talk this week, we talked about Cyberpunk 2077, some new information for it, and retail copies have started leaking, and the game has got the option to switch off nudity and that sort of thing, so we talked about censoring in video games and how we feel about that and everything. So we talked about a bunch of that sort of stuff. We also talked quite a lot about different copyright strikes for YouTubers and Twitch streamers and some different advice perhaps that a developer or somebody else sort of put out there in terms of muting game audio and that sort of thing. I also gave my impressions for Watch Dogs Legion, so if you want to know what I think about Watch Dogs Legion, the new Ubisoft game, you can listen to this week's episode for all of that and a bunch more stuff as well. For this week's Gaming Talk, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead story has concluded for its mid-season finale, Season 6, Episode 7. It will be back at some point in 2021 for its remaining 9 episodes, but I gave my critical thoughts, you could say, on the first half of Season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead, so you can check that out if you want to. Walking Dead will be on, by the way, we're going to be talking about tomorrow afternoon. So that will be our thoughts for Season 1, Episode 8 for World Beyond. Have a look out for that tomorrow. Let's Play Sundays 62 for Fall Guys. That's the co-op one that I did with Robert. Let me scroll down a bit here. United Cast, of course, talking about the West Brom win. Did a couple of other podcasts recently. 4 reasons to be excited for the upcoming HBO adapted series for The Last of Us. So The Last of Us, of course, the Naughty Dog video game, is going to be getting a HBO TV series adaptation. It's officially been greenlit and ordered to series. Ellie and Joel, the roles of those main characters have not been cast yet, but I talked about four very big reasons to be excited for the upcoming HBO TV series. Analysing television, I talked about Disney Plus's weird reboot strategy. Disney Plus is planning a lot of reboots in the future, and I talked about my thoughts and feelings on that, and it's a little bit strange. So, yeah, talked about that as well. Did a podcast talking about how The Last of Us Part 2 and Crash Bandicoot 4 kind of helped me, and how much I love those games and that sort of thing. There's no spoilers for either game in that podcast, so you can listen to that if you want to. And then Analysing Television episode 4, talking about season and episode lengths as well. What's the right length for a season? What's a good length for an episode? How does that kind of fit together? Etc. as well. So yeah, I talked about all of that. How long should a season be? How long should an episode be? What fits with what doesn't, etc. And I talked about all that. So that's what we've been doing at the moment on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. Let's get into player ratings. This is going to be quite interesting. David De Gea, I'm going to give a 9 to. I would have given him a 10, but of course he let in a goal. I thought it was great, made a couple of really good saves today, looked very sharp, apart from the just weird situation with the free kick. But other than that, I thought David De Gea was very, very good. I'm going to give him a 9. Back in some really good form as of late. I don't know if some of you have noticed the ratings I've been giving him, and he's just been playing a lot better lately. And it's great to see, because there was, doubts about him, and the future of where he could kind of be, and, where his head's at, that sort of thing. Of course, extended his contract, I believe, last season. But yeah, he looks to be back to his best, or at least mostly back to his best, which is good. Wan-Bissaka, thought he had a good game today. He's not one of our defensive problems. I'll get onto those in a minute. I'll give Wan-Bissaka a 7. I thought he was pretty good today. Yeah, just overall had a pretty good game. Don't have too much to add to that necessarily. Lindelof and Maguire, this is always where we go down a step a little bit. They're not a good defensive pairing. They don't work. They never really have. They did a couple of good things in this game, but I'm going to give Lindelof a 4, and I'm going to give Maguire a... I was going to go with a 3, but I might go a little bit lower. I'll go with a 2.5. I'm really fed up with Maguire. I'm really, really fed up with Maguire. He looks scared all the time. He looks nervous. He's rubbish in the air, and it's supposed to be his best quality. And I'm sorry, but with a footballer, when you look at their best quality, which for Maguire is supposed to be his aerial ability, he's terrible in the air. He's absolutely terrible in the air. He had a point-blank range header in this game. He missed. It went over the bar. I don't know if some of you know, or if some of you have seen an 11-a-side goal. Those things are bloody massive. And I know I'm on a bit more on the short side, so obviously the goal might look a little bit bigger to somebody like me. But when you're a professional footballer, you're the captain of Manchester United and you cost 80 million, and your big skill, let's call it that, is supposed to be your aerial ability, you've got to score more headers and win more defensively, and he just doesn't do it. He's terrible with crosses. He doesn't mark properly. He always looks scared. He clears the ball well every now and again. You know what? I'm giving him a 2. I'm really, really fed up with him, and I know a lot of Man United fans have asked this question: why is he our captain? What is it about Harry Maguire that Ollie's gone and looked at and said, yes, that man is my captain? It doesn't make any sense. Bruno is clear and far away supposed to be the team's captain, Bruno Fernandes, but he's just kept sticking with Maguire over and over and over again, and it's getting really tiring. I'm really getting fed up with Maguire, so yeah, I'm going to give him a 2. Alex Telles, I'm going to give a 9 to. I thought he was brilliant again. Some good intent with his crosses. Not all of them quite worked as well as what I did in the West Brom game. Attacks really well, looks energetic, looks like he wants to be there, really good passing, good tackling, just overall a really good game, so I'm going to give him an 8. Donny van de Beek finally got his first 90 minutes for the club. I'm going to give him a 10. I thought he was brilliant. He's not my man of the match. I'll get into my man of the match in a few minutes, but or in a couple of minutes or whatever. But yeah, Donny van de Beek finally getting his 90 minutes. Well deserved, because what has Donny van de Beek done wrong? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, van de Beek, going to give him a 10. I thought he was absolutely brilliant tonight. And yeah, just looks like just such a good player. And it's about time for Ollie to realise that. And I hope he gets another 90 minutes against Southampton. I really, really do. So let's hope that happens. Fred, I'm going to give a 10 to as well. I still think he's our best centre midfielder / centre defensive midfielder. You know, one of the two holding players that we use. I think he's always the best option to put in there. And I think Donny should keep joining him in that position. Really, really enjoyed seeing what I finally wanted to see tonight, which was to see Donny, Fred, and Bruno all in the same team. I'm really looking forward to that partnership in the future. I think it looks brilliant, because you've got just different things in there, like you got the attacking sense from Bruno and from Donny. Fred will get stuck in, win passes and pass the ball. Donny's got the intelligence to pass it forward, and then Bruno's got the intelligence to make chances. So with all three of them, but they all share really good things together as well. So yeah, really enjoyed watching Fred play tonight. I thought that was great. Gonna give him a 10. Rashford did get a goal from the penalty. I'll give him an 8. He looked a little bit off in certain circumstances. Maybe should have scored 1 or 2 more goals. Did score the offside goal, of course. That was a bit unlucky, but I still think that Rashford had a very good game tonight. Just not quite as good as certain other players in this match. But yeah, still very much enjoyed watching Rashford play tonight. He did very, very well. Bruno Fernandes, my man of the match, 10 out of 10. 2 goals, 2 very, very good goals. One just screamer, which was brilliant. It's always great to see a player score a screamer, isn't it? Just to absolutely whack one in from the edge of the box. It was brilliant. I was kind of stunned by it, to be honest. Didn't quite expect it necessarily. Not because it was Bruno or whatever. Just you don't always expect those shots to go in. And I'm usually, but I don't know. I don't think I've said this on the podcast before. Usually, I'll watch the full game, of course, and then I'll go and watch just like the 2 or 3 minute highlights later, just to see the goals again and that sort of thing. Whether we lose or win, because the Tottenham highlights, the 6-1, I'll watch those back as well. Not the entire game, because you're going to be watching several minutes of just passing, but I do like to go back and watch the highlights. So when I'm going to do like that a bit later tonight, I look forward to seeing Bruno's goal again. It's particularly special. Martial was used on the left wing, and it was better, because I don't think he's a striker. What was I going to say? Yeah, want to not really see Martial as a striker. I want to see him more as a winger. He clearly is one. Yeah, he's I don't know, he's a bit of a difficult player to rate in this game. He did all right. Did better than the West Brom game on Sunday or on Saturday. What day was that on? That was Saturday night, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know. What should I give Martial in this game? I'll give him a 7. He was fine. He didn't do anything particularly special, nothing particularly bad. So I'm going to give Martial a 7. Cavani, I think I'm going to give the same score. Actually, I'll give him an 8. I'll give him a little bit higher. I thought he got involved really well. Still didn't really have like a clear-cut chance per se. I'm looking forward to him getting one of them, because we saw what he can do with them when Bruno passed to him against Everton. He scores them. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that, and just looking forward to seeing more of Cavani. Let's get on to the subs as well. Of course, we saw through them. Greenwood was a bit too greedy for me in this game. Yeah, Greenwood was a bit too greedy for me in this game. Did set up the assist for Dan James to score, which was good. I'm going to give Greenwood a 6.5. Possibly a little bit low. I was edging towards a 7, but the thing, I think I've recognised his problem, Greenwood's problem. He's a great player, young prospect, great player. He scored a lot of really good goals. I don't think he's a right winger. I really, really don't. I don't think that's some sort of revelation either. I've said this before, I think on a few podcasts in the past. I want to see him play at number 9. I want to see him compete with Martial and Greenwood. Sorry, not Greenwood. that's himself, Greenwood and Martial for the number 9 slot. He's just got this instinct for going for goal, and sometimes as a winger you need to be a bit more aware of when you need to cross the ball. He did do that in this game and gave Dan James a goal, but he needed to do it a few more times in this game, and it's great. He's got the hunger to score goals. That's really, really good, but sometimes you just got to look up. Sometimes you just got to look up. You've got to look for the player next to you, which in this instance was Cavani a few times, who's a deadly striker, and you've just got to lay that pass off. You just got to work on that a little bit more. I love Greenwood. I think he's a great player. I really, really like him, but he's just got to work on that aspect of his game a little bit. How does that happen? Him to play up front, I think. He can work on the wing, but just he doesn't really have that sort of assist mentality per se. But I still think he played really well tonight. Dan James, what did I give Greenwood? I think I gave him a 7, didn't I? I'm going to give Dan James... Now, some people are going to think I'm exaggerating. I'm going to give him a 9. Because he lost the ball once. Right, if I'm to look at Dan James's game, okay. Made a couple of really good passes here and there. Had the intent to look for different opportunities. Got himself a goal. Had the instinct to go and look for himself for a goal. He was on the pitch for quite a while. Lost the ball once. Just once. I know it was a pretty stupid thing. He ran into a crowd of 3 players. He's got the pace. He wants to use it, I guess. Lost the ball once since he was on. What else did he do wrong? Nothing. He did absolutely nothing else wrong. I see the criticism of him online, of like, oh, is this Championship player? Go and send him back to Leeds, who are, by the way, in the Premier League. Go and send him back to the Championship and all this and all that. What has he done wrong exactly? Can someone tell me what he's done wrong? I would love to know. Sure, he's not the... When we look at Dan James and we think, okay, what can Dan James become? And he can potentially become, maybe not on quite the same level, but a Greenwood, Ryan Giggs type of sort of player. He is that type of player who wants to just run at the defence and get at them and cross the ball a few times, score some goals and whatever. In the entire time he's been here, which has been about 1.5 years, because he joined last summer, in my eyes, in my opinion, he's not done a whole lot wrong. He could maybe have done with a little bit more game time, perhaps, but the competition's a bit stiff if Donny van der Beek can barely get in this team. But I just do not. I don't see this sort of I'll get him back to the Championship sort of play. I just don't I don't see that. I just don't. And if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. You're not right. You're not wrong. Neither am I. It's just opinion. But he came on in this game, looked a bit sharper than what he has in the last few games for Manchester United. Scored a good goal. See, the thing is, here's the thing as well. If that ball gets played to him, and he misses, or he kicks the ball at the keeper, or the ball goes past him and he doesn't, or he miscontrols the ball or something like that, we'd all be moaning at him. We'd all be moaning at him. But because he scored a point-blank range goal, and some people are going to look at that goal and go, "Oh, it was an easy goal." You'd be moaning at him if he missed that shot. It's just like the Cavani goal against Everton. I saw some people saying "Oh, we need to get Haaland in and whatever," and he scored an easy goal. If players miss shots like that, we have a go at them. Because do you know when we did that? On Sunday against West Brom, when Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford missed point-blank range shots, when you're a player who plays for Manchester United, you've got to put those shots away. And in this situation, Dan James did. And that's all I'm saying. Is that that's the situation. Martial missed one on Sunday. Rashford missed one on Sunday. Cavani scored one against Everton, which was a good shot. Because they might seem like simple goals, and they are. I'm not denying that. But if any player, whether it's Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, James, Cavani, whoever it is, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's David De Gea, well, I suppose it would be different if it's David De Gea. If a player misses a chance like that, they get slaughtered. Because I gave Martial stick on Sunday, and I gave Rashford stick on Sunday when they missed a chance like that. But it's simple chances like that a Premier League professional footballer needs to put away. And when they do, we're very, very happy. So don't ever look at it as like, oh, they just scored a simple tap in, because if they miss that, we'll be on their backs. And I know that that's the case because it's happened so many times. But I just thought that I'd make a bit of a case for Dan James. And yes, he's not the finished Dan James that we want him to be, and he's 23. Still got plenty of years left. Could still do with some improvement, definitely. I'm not saying he's a perfect player, just I do not understand the mass criticism that I see for him. It's a bit ridiculous. But let's move on from him. Oh yeah, Matic came on in this game. I forgot the Matic came on. I'm just looking through the subs. The next one after Dan James is Matic. I'll have to give him an average 5 because I can't tell you that I noticed him. Williams, same thing. Twanzebe looked pretty good when he came on. I'll give him an average 6. I thought that he looked pretty good as well. Those are the 3 players that just didn't particularly get in the game too much. Twanzebe did more than Matic and Williams did. But yeah, I can't say that I noticed Matic and Williams particularly. So, but that's just my thoughts on that. So I don't want to seem like I'm a fanboy of Dan James or any of this sort of stuff. We've just got to notice when players get simple things right, because when players get simple things wrong, we're on their back at them, and rightfully so, because we should get simple things right. So anyway, this might be the longest episode of the United Cast. I don't really know, but that's my thoughts on the game. Lots of different thoughts and feelings, of course, like I've already expressed. If you would like to send in your opinions, your thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, what do you think of the whole simple chances sort of thing? Not just based on Dan James's goal, but just in general simple chances and everything like that. Let me know what you think. Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's contact page and information in your show notes. Speaking of feedback, I've almost forgotten, and I do apologise. Had a little bit of a Twitter exchange. I do just want to give a shout out. Where is this guy's name? Let me just scroll down a little bit. Sam Goodfield was talking to me. I already kind of replied to him a few times on Twitter. We were talking about Martial and how he's not sort of a out-and-out striker, which I've talked about before. But just wanted to give a shout out to Sam Goodfield, who I've been having a bit of a conversation with on Twitter about Manchester United. Said he was debating whether or not to watch the game. I hope that you did, because it was an eventful one, certainly. So yeah, and we also talked about Van der Beek not really getting picked, and Ole sort of not quite being good enough, all of which I agree on. So yeah, but if you want to get involved, like I said, if you want your opinions and stuff, and to get mentioned on the podcast or whatever the case may be, Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK, there's a contact page and information in your show notes. Gosh, this really is a long episode. Yeah, if you like what you heard today and you want to hear more from Entertainment Talk, you can check out all of our content, entertainmenttalk.org. If you like what you've heard today, hopefully you do. You might disagree with me, but if you like what you've heard today nonetheless, you can support Entertainment Talk. There's a few different options for getting involved. Patreon, of course. You can have a look at the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth, please tell your friends and family, or not just your friends and family, but people that you know that want this sort of coverage or podcast, or just people in general. Tell them about the website and the iTunes feeds. That will really, really help us out. Word of mouth is quite an effective way of helping out Entertainment Talk, so please consider getting involved with that. Social media, you can essentially do the same thing, but through Facebook and Twitter, sharing the links on Facebook and Twitter, different Facebook groups, or whatever it is that you're using these days. Over on the TV and film news side of things, if you want your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news, David's got you covered over on Geektown, geektown.co.uk, and Geektown Radio on iTunes. If you have a look for Geektown, you should be able to find all of the podcasts on there. There's a new episode available today, so go and get your weekly TV and film news up to date and reliable. Over on the Twitch side of things, Bex is streaming daily over on Twitch if you want to check out what she's doing over there. Lots of cool fun stuff. Trista Bytes, Trista Bytes, go and follow her over on Twitch. If you want to watch me play video games over on Twitch, hoping to get back to it on Thursday. If you want to watch me play different games on Twitch, eTalkUK over there, that's eTalkUK. If you want to see what I would do with the Manchester United team, which is by playing Van der Beek, Fred and Bruno Fernandes, for the most part, you've got to rotate your team there every now and again, but eTalkUK on Twitch for all of that and different games as well. And also look out for Let's Play Sundays. Don't thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on Sunday or whatever else we do next. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.